lifted me and threw 225 pounds right into a wall. At that point in time, my life stopped. I thought we were going over.
I heard this enormous explosion, and the building swayed.
The ceiling fell and collapsed. And I remember the resumes starting to fly out of the room. I'm sitting there, and a resume just passes me by and stays in the middle of the air, so much so that I could read the name, and then it floated by.
American Flight 11 has ripped through floors 93 to 99 of the North Tower of the World Trade Center. Over 20,000 gallons of jet fuel ignite. New York.
And I walk back into the office. I'm looking towards the Statue of Liberty now, that direction. And a giant aircraft caught my eyes. And this plane is coming closer, closer, closer towards me. I can still see this big U on this plane.
Oh my goodness, there's another one.
This seems to be on purpose.
It's 9:03 a.m. There is no longer any doubt that America is under attack.
And there's more explosions right now. Hold on, people are running.
Listen, hold on just a moment. We've got an explosion inside.
The building's exploding right now. You got people running up the street.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll tell you what's going on.
Oh my goodness, now it's obvious, I think, that there's a second plane just crashed into the World Trade Center. I think we have a terrorist act of proportions that we cannot begin to imagine at this juncture.
"9:37 a.m. These surveillance photographs capture Flight 77's exact moment of impact with the Pentagon.
The structure completely lifts. The walls cave in.
Just a huge burst of hot air just hit me in the face.
The fireball was approximately 50 feet in the air, and this was right behind us.
When I opened my eyes, it was like somebody was standing there with a flamethrower.
Over eastern Ohio, hijacker pilot Ziad Jarrah is in the cockpit of United Flight 93. His target is the U.S. Capitol building. This time, America's last line of defense becomes the passengers themselves. Tom Burnett and Jeremy Glick are among those who will lead the charge.
He told me he was putting a plan together to take back the airplane.
He had told me, all right, the guy with the bomb looks kind of small. He's no match for me. I can take him.
United 93 plunges toward the Earth at 580 miles an hour. It crashes into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
Boom, boom.
9:59 a.m. The outer columns of the South Tower finally give way.
All of a sudden, about the 6th floor, that noise started again. That noise, that loud noise, that shaking.
10:28 a.m. The North Tower begins to fall.
We that the second building of the World Trade Center going down?
Yes, that is the second. That is the second tower. That is the second tower.
It had every bit of the sounds of combat, the smells, the screams, and the horrors. As I looked up, I just said, "Dear Lord, give us the strength for what I'm about to do."
Sergeant Brayman runs towards the inferno. So does Lieutenant Colonel Anderson. The breach in the Pentagon is 2 stories tall and 75 feet wide. 50 feet from the point of impact, Army accountant Sheila Moody is trapped inside her office. She's surrounded by flames.
The smoke and the fumes started taking my breath away, and a voice in my head just said to clap your hands. So I started clapping my hands together as loud and as hard as I could.
Moody feels herself losing consciousness. Sergeant Chris Brayman slips through a gap in the wall.
And I just yelled, "Is anybody there? Is anybody there?" And that's when I noticed a woman on the ground.
I could see just through the smoke for a split second, and I reached over.
All I remember is he was reaching through the clouds and grabbing her.
Brayman carries Sheila Moody out of the building and delivers her to medics. 3 floors up, insurance manager Nathan Goldwasser watches as one of his colleagues tries to open the emergency exit to Stairway C.
He was banging with the side of his body to try to, open the door.
But the door, twisted by the force of the blast, won't budge. 1 floor below, Port Authority construction inspector Pablo Ortiz and 2 of his co-workers hear the pounding.
Suddenly someone from the other side says, "Get away from the door." We just naturally backed off. And the next thing I remember very clearly was a crowbar came through the drywall next to the door.
The crowbar loosens the jammed door. Goldwasser and others are able to push it open and descend to safety. Their rescuers remain on the 89th floor, checking offices for trapped employees. As they search, Pablo Ortiz discovers 11 people gathered in Walter Polipiak's office.
A fellow who appeared in my door who I recognized, but I did not know. When he said, "Let's go," I didn't ask questions. I just got up and followed his instructions and followed him out into the hall.
Ortiz leads Polipiak to the open stairwell. Then he joins his co-workers as they continue in their search. On the 86th floor, they find Louis Leshy.
You couldn't see anything. And someone said, "Anybody in here?" And we said, "Yes." And they said, "All right, this way." And that's what you did. You followed.
Pablo Ortiz and his colleagues lead dozens of people to stairwells. Not once do they choose to follow them down.
That's the difference between people like me and heroes who stop and say, "Is there anybody I can help get out?" I don't know. Heroism is someone maybe who's so afraid, who's so frightened that gets fed up and says, "Damn it, I'm not going to let this happen not only to me but to somebody else."
Ortiz and his co-workers are last seen on the 78th floor, continuing their methodical floor-by-floor sweep.